Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Loretta Ferrucci, and today I'd like to introduce you to life mapping and what it can actually do for you. So have you ever found yourself in a conflicted relationship? Have you ever found yourself being the recipient of relationship conflict? Have you ever wondered why sometimes you do things that seem to be out of character to you? Or not only out of character, but you do things that create enormous stress and tension for yourself? Have you ever thought to yourself, you know what, sometimes I just don't get myself? Do you have family members that you absolutely don't get? Have you looked at your children and wondered, how is it possible that children that are born from the same parents and raised in more or less the same kind of environment can be so radically different? Have you thought the same about yourself and your siblings? You know, you and your siblings are 80% genetically similar, but probably, according to most of us, like 100% different from one another. Well, life mapping can actually give you insights into all of those things that I've just raised that can help you resolve relationship conflicts. It can help you understand yourself better. It can deepen your connection to yourself and therefore deepen your connection to others. It can help you understand why your siblings or your family or your colleague or your partner or your boss is the way they are and do the things that they do. So life mapping is a personality analysis tool, essentially. It's based on numbers. It's based on a calculation that's placed on your date of birth. You come up with a spread of 8 numbers. Each number is in a particular position, and each position represents a different aspect of your personality and how you'll behave. So I've been interested in personal development probably for about, 25 years or so. And I've always really liked numbers, and I've liked structure and order, actually. That's what I like, because I've got 8s in my life map, and we are very grounded and very logical, and we like structure and order and boundaries. And I studied a Japanese healing therapy called Jinshin-jutsu. And in Jinshin-jutsu, there are 26 areas on each side of the body where energy becomes dammed or locked. And they're called safety energy locks because in Jinshin-jutsu, they say they lock in order to protect us. So when the energy becomes dammed in that area, then we often develop a symptom. And when we develop a symptom, then we pay attention. Usually we don't pay attention until we start becoming uncomfortable. So the safety energy locks are numbered, and each number has a meaning. And this got me interested in the meaning of numbers. And so I started looking a bit at numerology, and I realized that it didn't matter which form of numerology you looked at, whether you looked at Jinshin-jutsu's explanations of the numbers, or whether you looked at Chaldean numerology, or whether you looked at sort of Eastern numerology, the meaning of numbers or the sort of characteristics that are assigned to numbers are universal. So one day, I was having a conversation with someone, and we were talking about life stages and how they go in numbers. You know, some philosophies say life stages go in 7 years. Some philosophies say they go in 9 years. And we were discussing Jinshin-jutsu and the numbers and the safety energy locks and that kind of thing. And she said to me, you really seem to enjoy this number story. I've got a book for you. And she went into her house and she came out with a book called The Human Pin Code, written by Douglas Forbes. Now, Douglas Forbes and Richard Higgins. Douglas Forbes was the discoverer or the founder of the Human Pin Code, and that was exactly this personality system based on this this calculation that's placed on your birth date, and you come up with a spread of 8 numbers. And I was fascinated, and then I was even more enthralled to find out that Douglas is a South African. And so I contacted him, and he said yes, he teaches people how to do this. And so I went to his workshops and I trained with him, and I actually became a Human Pin Code practitioner. And then, it was a little bit like out there, right? Because this was in 2003 or so, 2004 maybe, that I learned how to do this. And I thought, well, I need people to take me seriously, because I'm already this like fruitcake doctor. I don't want to be too fruitcake-like. So I used to just do it for fun. And I started when my patients all had their date of birth, right, on their files. And so I just used to write down everyone's PIN code. And at the time, I was using Jinshin-jutsu as well, and I was still studying Jinshin-jutsu, and I was getting immersed in it, and I was actually teaching Jinshin-jutsu self-help courses, so I really was into Jinshin-jutsu and the numbers and the safety energy locks. And then I started seeing a correlation between the numbers in the PIN code and the numbers in Jinshin-jutsu. Now, it's quite complicated, and I'm not going to go into it. But basically, that's when I started amalgamating the two, the Jinshin-jutsu numbers as well as the sequencing of the Human Pin Code, and I put it together into what I call life mapping. So how does it help? Or who have I helped with life maps? Well, I mean, I've certainly understood myself a whole lot better. There's no doubt about that. And not only have I understood myself a whole lot better, I have an awareness of why I do things. And I have because I have an increased awareness. So for example, I'll give you an example. I have sevens, and sevens can get very intense and they can get very anxious, right? And I have eights, and they can also get anxious and intense, and they want to do everything perfectly. It's got to be done immediately, and we've got to finish everything. You know, all the I's must be dotted and the T's must be crossed. And so now, when I find myself becoming all doomy and gloomy about the future, or when I find myself detaching from other people, or when I find myself becoming too introspective, or when I find myself not wanting to connect to people, then I know I'm going into the more reactive or the negative aspects of my 7. And then I also know what I can draw on to actually get myself out of that. And so you can use your life map as a coaching tool. You can use it as an everyday tool to increase your awareness. I learned life maps when my daughter was about 3. And I'm telling you, it saved that poor child from having to have a lifetime of therapy, because it made me understand how she was different to me and how there were certain things that I took for granted and that I could do really easily that she just couldn't do. And so understanding her life map allowed me to parent her in a way that allowed her to, shall I say, reach her potential, I think, more, okay? And I mean, I think she's a pretty awesome person, but certainly it may not have made her a better person, but it certainly, I think, made me a more understanding mother. I've helped young people with career dilemmas. So, you know, point out to them where their strengths and weaknesses what they might be good at and what they might not be, which is a little bit more, it's more sort of real than some of those psychometric tests that you do. I have used this to help people in organizations build and lead their teams. I've helped people in relationships understand one another better, in business as well as in personal relationships, you know, like relationship kind of counseling. I have done this for personal development. I have taught workshops in this, and essentially I've done this for a number of my patients and for clients as well who just want to understand themselves better. So this month, for the rest of May, I know May is almost done, but for the rest of May and for June, I'm offering a special on life maps. A life map analysis takes 1 hour. You can either have a written analysis done, which is great because you have a hard copy, but it is slightly more sort of two-dimensional than actually having a live analysis done. So I do live analysis. I do them electronically via Zoom, so I can do them anywhere in the world with anyone in the world. I record it and I send the recording to the client, or I can do it live for you in my consulting room, and that's actually my favorite way of doing it. So I'm offering a special for the rest of May and for the whole of June. Normally a human life map, listen to me, a life map analysis costs 1,200 Rand, but for the rest of May and for June, it'll only be 1,000 Rand. If you are outside of South Africa, it's $100. Now, yes, I know $100 is more than 1,000 Rand, but we get screwed by the exchange rate in South Africa, which is why I'm offering it at a more affordable price for South Africans. So why should you bother? I mean, seriously, why do you need another personality analysis system? Well, if you're not interested, then you shouldn't bother. But why I think you should bother is because your mind always lies and your body never does. That's what Dr. John DeMartini said. So those of you who know me, you hear me quote this all the time because I think it's profound. It's a profound truth. Your body is the part of you that carries out your habits. Your body is the part of you that is doing is the doing part of you. It's the part of you that's always in the present. It's the part of you that you carry around with you wherever you go. And it's the part of you that is actually demonstrating things in your life. So your mind might say that I really know that I should go to the gym, but your body doesn't actually go there, because between your mind and your body, the gym is not really an issue for you, or exercising is not important enough for you. Now, you might say it is important, but I can tell you this. You might think it's important, but if you're not doing it, it's not important enough to do. So how important can it really be? That's what I mean by the mind lies and the body doesn't. And your mind is always going to be trying to keep you safe. Your mind, or certainly your unconscious, wants to keep you safe and so wants to maintain the status quo. And that's why you will sometimes behave in ways that create stress and tension for yourself. You don't understand why that's actually happening. And when you don't understand it, you have no mastery over it because you don't actually feel like you have a choice. And so it creates inner tension and it creates inner conflict. And yes, having your life map done is a great party trick, and I've done this a lot of time at parties, and it's great to do it, especially for the skeptics and the cynics, because generally they're the ones who are most blown away by the accuracy of it. But it's so much more valuable than that, because it can help you resolve your inner conflict. What it can also do is can help you highlight the parts of yourself that you're infatuated with and the parts that you resent, and it can help you integrate them more so that you become more accepting of yourself. It helps you to silence your inner critic. It helps you to what else does it help you to do? It helps you to connect more deeply with yourself. And when you can accept yourself more, and you can connect more deeply to yourself, then you can connect to others. You can accept them more, and you can connect more deeply to them. And human beings, we are creatures of connection. We need connection in order to live inspired, fulfilled, happy, and healthy lives. So if I haven't convinced you by now, you're probably never going to go for it. If you are intrigued or you're interested, I would urge you to please visit my life mapping page. You're either watching this on my life mapping page, or you're watching this, you're seeing this video clip in an email. So I've included the link either above or below this mail. You can go straight to the life mapping page. I would love for you to like it and follow me. And on there, you will see there are lots of videos that tell you about what life mapping is about. There is a clip that I do every single day, which is essentially the energy of the day that you can anticipate, because every day has a date of birth, as it were, right? So we can formulate the energy of the day. And I also give you the Jin Shinjutsu techniques to help you manage that energy more effectively. On that life mapping page also, there are testimonials, so you can find out what others are saying. If you're watching this on social media, I might have put a testimonial above or below this clip, or in the email that I've sent you, probably above or below this clip. So don't delay. Have your life map done today. Well, maybe not today, but contact me today in order to book your life mapping consultation. Oh, and I'm also going to be doing life maps, short life maps, at festivals and fairs locally and around the country. So watch out for notifications of those.